All right. Welcome everyone to this Blender Cloud Live. What a day. We just released Blender 2.79a like a few minutes ago. And now we're making a live stream. So leave your questions today because we are talking about animation. And I'm all alone here by myself. Who can I call? No, sir. Oh. What is that?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what is that? What was that?
What was that?
Where do you stay? Like, by any chance, waiting here for like half an hour?
I was underneath, tickling your feet.
Yeah, that was it.
That's
okay.
Good. Yeah.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the not a couch anymore, but
not
yeah.
a couch. Nope.
So the idea of this episode is talk about animation, but more like in a production environment. So related to the project that we have in the Blender Cloud, we have some videos showing a tool. Collection of two tools actually that are going to be now we're just going to talk about it, so we make it nice and short and easy, but the actual tutorial will be up next week, so this will be like a teaser, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
So how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Hey.
Who are you, by the way?
Hi, my name is Hjalti Helmarsson. I work here at the Blender Studio / Institute.
Animations, yes.
Animation Studio. Yep.
Foundation, no?
Yeah, foundation. No, not the foundation. But who are you?
I am I'm the dude who like plugs the stuff. Somebody's
okay. That's cool.
I'm Pablo. I'm not related with the animation part of the pipeline, but I enjoy animation a lot. So
that's good.
Yeah, just chilling here.
Okay. Nice.
So there are two big projects that are happening right now on Blender Cloud. One of them is happening in Barcelona with the team of Daniel Martinez Lara. That's Hero. That's a 2D animation with a grease pencil tool. So they're actually drawing every frame, and maybe not every frame because they can like tweak, like add shape keys and stuff. But it's still are brushes. There's no like armatures.
Very old school.
Yeah, but not so old actually, because it's oldish. It's old, but they're using new tools.
Yeah.
So it's like halfway school, middle school.
2.5D kind of a thing.
Yeah, 2.8D.
Ooh.
Yes, because they're using 2.8. Here we're still not using 2.8 for the other open movie that is happening in the Blender Cloud, but it's happening also here at the Blender Animation Studio in Amsterdam. It's spring.
Mm-hmm.
But for this one, you're using bones, right?
Yeah.
You're actually using armatures.
Armatures, full 3D, yes. Exactly.
So what are your favorite, or actually more, how would you call it, like essential tools?
Ooh, essential
what are your essential tools that you use?
For the most part, because, we try to have things a little bit more maybe vanilla here. We don't, we're not going and buying these fancy super tools or whatever and then using them, and then when we need to like make tutorials or whatever, then we're like, oh yeah, you should be using that tool, that expensive tool. So usually I just go with just the basics. I just try to customize like settings or whatnot just for myself, but everything is super vanilla. The exception is the two tools that I'm going to be talking about now.
Oh, what a teaser.
Yes, exactly. What a segue. So first there's going to be the selection sets. So essentially what you have when you have a rig, when you have an armature, you have some kind of a character, and you have an armature, and there's a lot of bones. Sometimes there's just insane amount of bones, of course. But how do you navigate through this stuff? So of course sometimes you just have a character that is super simple and you don't really have to care about this. When you have there's only 5 bones or 10 bones or whatever, but once you get into 20 bones, 40 bones, 60 bones, it's a lot of bones.
Blend rig bones.
Well, yeah,
which is like how many? 900 or so, yes.
2,000. I don't know.
2,000 bones. I think it was
maybe.
Like a record setter.
Yeah.
But the ones you actually work with, they're not 2,000, right there.
Yeah. So there's the bones that you have to work with, which is the ones that can be animated, and then there's the ones that are kind of just hidden underneath, the ones that are deforming something or whatnot. In a more advanced rig, that's what you're gonna have. You're gonna have that separation of control bones and then kind of the bones underneath the hood. But still, there's this problem because the control bones that you have, they might still be 200. you know, depending on the rig and whatnot. So and it's gonna depend on what your shot is gonna be like, what bones you want to use. And in some cases, there's gonna be like some bones that are gonna be used 90% of the time. So, you know, which is great, but then in other cases there's going to be these extra bones that you're going to want, but only on a shot-to-shot basis. Why not just key all the bones might be a question. So the reason for that is your performance, essentially. So if you're keying every single bone, it slows down your frame rate tremendously, like really a lot.
Yeah.
You might, you know, if I took the character that I'm working on right now, like the spring character, the main character, and I keyed everything, it would probably take, you know, if I had like 15 frames per second right now, just doing a simple play, it would take me down to like 4 frames per second, something like that. It's just
4 frames per second.
Yeah,
so.
you know, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's just the inherent problem that Blender would need to go over every single bone, because every bone is keyed. So every time it's trying to play anything, it's like going over the entire rig again and again and again, and it's you know, sometimes we're talking about a few hundred bones.
So the first tip and most important in order to not hit performance in Blender rigs and everything, it's just when you start animating, don't go and key everything at once. It's only key what's necessary.
Yeah. So take this with a bit of kind of caveat.
Caviar?
I think I said that wrong, but whatever.
Caviar.
Like yeah, exactly. There's a caveat to it. Take it with a grain of salt. That's what I mean. So here's the thing. Usually when you're blocking something out, I highly recommend you key all the bones that you're gonna use. That's where the difference lies, because then you know that the pose you just struck, it's gonna be frozen in time on that frame. However, if you're keying all the bones of the entire rig, then you got a problem. So this is why we use the selection sets. We predefine what are the main bones that we want to be using for this character. What are like the most essential bones? And out of, you know, I don't know the numbers, out of maybe 600 bones available, it's going to be these 20 or these 30, something like that. So you have a selection set just for that. And you hide everything else. So you just select that thing, Shift H, everything else is hidden, and these are the bones you're working with. And then when you strike a pose, you key everything within that selection set. And then you move on from there. Of course, maybe there's a shot where you want some extra controls or whatever, then you just add those to that selection set, and it's only going to be kind of done locally. So you're only changing the thing locally.
I just wanted to do a parenthesis here, is that because the tip basically is, now I'm just showing in the background some of the feedback that were given by the animators to the riggers, which is unrelated, but at least it's something about rigging. But
riggers in plural, that's nice.
Riggers,
nice.
yes.
Rigger,
well,
the one and only.
Like we have more than one.
Juan Pablo.
Hola, yes. Juan Pablo, you're the only one. Or only Juan.
There's only Juan.
Okay, puns aside, the tip was key only what's necessary, so key as little as possible, basically. But as a lighter myself, or a render part, sometimes having very few bones keyed is problematic, because maybe you change some settings for like maybe an IK to IK, or maybe something that affects like a shape key, or something that just changes slightly how the model is imported. So when you do lighting, you bring the character, which has like the default T-pose, then you make a proxy, and then you add the action from the animators, you apply the action. And if the bones sometimes happens, like the maybe it doesn't affect the animation, but affects other parts of the rig, then you want them to be animated, keyed, even if they just...
Yeah, so I think what you're mentioning is if you have, it's not necessarily that the bones aren't keyed, it's more that like there's settings to that bone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant.
Yeah, so there could be
custom properties.
Yeah, properties, exactly. So you might have some extra properties, like this shot is in an entirety just animated with IK hands, for example. Yeah. So, but maybe by default that character, when you link it in, it has FK hands. So, you know, you might be not considering this that much when you're just animating that shot. You might just switch it to IK and that's it. But you should be switching to IK and then keying that on the first frame. So that way, when you put kind of a data block of animation or action and you put it on the character, it's going to take all that stuff with it. It's going to take all the settings, all the, you know, maybe a hinge head and a hinge arm, or I don't know. There's a lot of different settings. So yeah,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. So back to the first tool that you mentioned that is very...
Yes, selection
like
set.
So must.
So where does this come from? Maybe just a tiny little history. I asked because it can be quite a jungle to go through a rig that is, you know, like a high professional rig. Like, you know, Juan Pablo makes these really amazing rigs, but you know they are big and heavy in it because it has a lot of cool features.
That's professional.
That's professional. There we go.
Yes, of course.
So how do you kind of weed through that jungle? Because you have bone layers, okay? And it comes with bone layers, but the problem is that those layers are separated by the rigger for their own thought process. Yeah. And you know, and I've rigged myself, and I've had this thing happen, you know, to me also, where I will compartmentalize all these different bones, and it'll make sense for me as the rigger.
Yeah.
But then when the animator needs to take it, usually that's me down the line, and I'm like, why have you done this? You know.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So it's better to just be able to customize exactly what do you want, how do you need it, and that's it. So during Gooseberry, I asked Antonis to make me
Riakotakis.
Yeah. Riakiotakis.
Riakiotakis, yes. Developer, and he was also working here.
It was only now, like 5 minutes ago, I realized I don't know how to say his last name.
Like, just go and write it down. Yes,
it's quite a Greek name.
Yeah. Why did you say Pablo here? Hey.
No, no. Vasquez.
The pink guy.
Oh. So I asked Antonis if he could make me something like that, like something super basic. Don't spend too much time on it. And he made basically the selection sets, but it was super rudimentary. You could only make something and it would automatically just assign something to it, and then you could just destroy that selection set. It's like no so extra little.
Select a few bones, store that selection, but it will go away. It's like a secret agent, like read this and then it will auto-destructing.
Exactly, basically, yeah. So you know, it was like a cool tool you could use, and I used it during the entire Gooseberry. That's Cosmos Laundromat. So I used it throughout that thing, and it was very helpful. Even though you know you kind of you can't copy paste it between anything or assign remove or whatever you know, it was very rudimentary, but it worked, which is great. And then Ines, I think it was during the agent or early
Ines
in the
Almeida.
Agent. Yes, she took it on herself. She was like, oh, what is this and how does it work? And I'm like, yeah, like it's great, but like would be great if I could do this and that, you know. And it's like super basic requests.
Yeah.
You know? When I say basic, I mean like, you know, assign, remove, select, deselect. Like that's how basic we're talking.
Yeah.
And she took a look at the code and she's like, you know what, I can
hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Yeah.
Type.
Exactly. And she made it, you know, she took it to the next level, which was great. And then Sibren Stuvel, our very own doctor, he took it upon himself now, I think it was during Dweeps, I think.
Yeah.
To take it kind of to the next level, which means that now you can, the code is maybe a little bit more refined. It's a little bit more up to date with how Blender works.
Current Blender, yes.
Exactly.
279. We are talking about always 2.79.
Yeah, exactly. Not 2.8. We're not there yet. That's the future.
No.
You know. And yes, and now we have copy paste also between.
What?
So like I'm in one blend file and I can just copy, and then there's another blend file and I paste it there.
That's brilliant. As long as it's the same rig, right? If I have one rig and name based, right?
So this is name based. So it's like if you have another rig, but you have exactly the same naming situation for your bones, then
it will work.
It will work.
Wow, magic. So what if we just show it, because we were talking for half an hour?
Yeah, sorry about that. So I recorded a little video.
Yes.
It's like 3 minutes.
So we have a documentary.
A documentary, yeah. So here I have the girl. Her name is Spring, and there's the selection sets. So I just made a little example. So I just pick, you know, a couple of bones, holding down Shift, right click selecting, and I assign. And now if I deselect and I click select, those things get selected. Yay!
Bam. So I missed the first part. It's just creating a new set.
Yeah, so you just create a new set.
It's like creating a material and applying a material, basically, because you just, it's the same UI. Add a new.
Exactly.
Control, double click or control click to name it.
Yeah.
Then select the bones that you want
and
assign.
Yeah, and you just,
awesome.
well, you can double click and then you're renaming it. Yeah. And
yeah,
you can select, you can delete select, all that stuff. Super simple. I mean, this is not, you know, this is not rocket science here. Like, this is relatively simple, but but it is so useful, and I can't be without it now. So now I just selected the chest bone and I assigned it to it, and I did select, and yay. And then of course you can do Shift H, which just hides everything that's not selected, and then Alt H will just show everything again.
Yeah, but this is a Blender feature. Shift H and Alt H.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Blender feature. Yeah. So there is also this extra thing that Sibren did for me, which is a special little shortcut, which is how you can select. Okay, first of all, he did the. I'm just trying to sync up with the video right now. You can copy paste between two blend files.
Ah.
That's Sibren.
And then you go to another file.
Amazing.
These are two different blenders open.
Two different blenders open, and I'm just pasting between them. And then, by the way, that little menu, that is the extra little feature that he also added, which is, it's Alt Shift W, and and of course you can assign it to something else, but that's what we have by default.
So that way you can switch between the active,
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So that way you don't have to like go into the selection sets thing or whatever, have it on the side. You could just hit that little shortcut and it'll show you a tiny little menu.
Yeah.
I think I do it now. Now. There you go. Yeah. And you have all the different options. And whatever you click, it's just going to select that. And then if I do Shift H, it'll hide everything. I'm so hoping I would do that. Please do it now.
H,
yay, he did it.
So you're constantly like selecting your selections set for the face, and then Shift H to hide everything else, work. Then maybe move to the hand, hide everything else, and awesome.
Yeah. So somebody might ask the question, so why don't you just have it be so when you select the thing from that menu, it just automatically hides everything else? Well, like for example, I'm just showing there, Shift F will flip the selection, so I don't have to have hand right, hand left, or whatever.
Oh wow!
And then I could flip the selection and add something on top of that. Like maybe I want to select facials and hands. And yeah, that's kind of creepy.
That's pretty. That's awesome. So it works by naming conventions. Or if it's then the bones are named hand L, then it will select hand R.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The Shift F, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so good. And yeah, that's about it, I think.
It's amazing. This is an add-on, right?
Yeah, this is an add-on, I think, by default.
I think it comes with Blender, but we can't... yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think if you go into add-ons and you just write select, well, then it's like the only one called select anything.
Well, I happen to have Blender here. And then just to show it, the font
so your own fancy settings?
Yeah, not really. Let's select animation selection sets.
Bingo.
Click, and here you have all the names that we couldn't pronounce before.
I think that is.
It's an older version.
Yeah, so it's just a slightly older version. This is before Sibren came along and kind of dabbled in a little bit. Okay. So it says also Dan Eicher. I have no idea. I'm not sure who that is or what he also did to it.
Probably it's usually at the end of the. It depends on who worked on it last or more. Yeah. So probably he started the add-on work, or maybe Anthony took some code from.
Maybe he cleaned something up. I'm not sure. Yeah.
But cool. Actually, I compiled Blender, so this should actually. Well, maybe not. But anyway, it should be available in the latest Blender version. So. I'm going to...
you're going to do it live?
No, to see if I have it. Ooh. If I have this is the actual latest and greatest Blender. Compiled. Well, not really. Compiled a few days ago. Few days. In Blender time, that is like forever ago. So...
no, it's the older.
Same.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
So maybe it's not even updated. Okay.
All right, so coming soon.
Yes, actually, when we make the video next week, when we make the actual tutorial on how to use it, not only explaining it, but actually using it, we'll provide links for everything to be downloaded. Yeah. Hopefully that one can be directly in Blender because it's very basic, and the post library maybe as well. The thing is, Blender 279A just came out half an hour ago, so it's kind of hard to you know to put it in that one.
Exactly.
And the next one is 2.8. So
well, maybe a B comes along.
Yeah, but you can't like build new add-ons just because they're nice now. You should like the idea of the maintenance releases are they're just back fixes basically. Okay. So that is still an add-on, so it wouldn't hurt. But yeah.
Also, it's just a slightly more modern version of the same add-on. You know what I mean? It's not like we're shoving in a new add-on.
Yeah, exactly.
So
maybe that counts as a fix.
Yeah, exactly.
Bug fix or a bunch of new stuff. Okay. So that is one of your
so that's selection
essential
sets.
Tools. Yes, that's a selection set. But this was the minor one. I heard the other one was like
yes. So actually in functionality, I would say this is the big one.
Oh.
That's the funny thing about small tools, you know.
Yeah.
Because those, you know, if it's like this really helpful small tool, you'll end up using that way more than the bigger fancy tools. However, the big fancy tools, they're great. They're great, yeah. So this one...
Would you include, the selection set, would you include it by default today? Like Blender? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
The post library thing, it's... I would have to say I'm maybe a bit 50-50 on that, like at least in the current version that we have. Because, I mean, for 2.8, if we like revamp the entire thing, yes, I think that totally. Because post library is already like a basic thing in Blender. It's just that on a user interface level, not that great. You know, it's like giving you a list of different poses that you've made only by name, and it's not like giving you a preview of it. And then if you wanna, you know, you have a character and you've made like 2 different pose libraries, okay? So one is for your face, one's for your hand, or whatever. If you want to like click and choose the hand one, you'll get maybe like 200 different action blocks. Okay, so you have to like weed through those things. So it's not really that handy and easy to use, especially in the spare of the moment when you're animating.
Yes, this is the one we are talking about now. It's
the old school one.
It's the current school.
The current school.
You have the college one.
Exactly. And the one we are talking about now, like the one we're gonna be talking about, it is kind of a halfway point between what we want to strive for 2.8. So in 2.8, we want to take what we learned by making this thing and just take it to the next level and try to make it more incorporated into Blender. This is originally based off of an add-on by Jasper van Nieuwenhausen.
Yeah, probably Dutch.
Yeah, exactly. I had to write that down. Yeah, Jasper from Newhouse, the Newhouse.
Oh, you're translating.
Yeah, I'm translating.
That's so advanced. Yes,
it's very cool. So he originally made this add-on. It's probably years ago, and we saw that add-on and we thought, okay, like this is not like something that is completely concrete and like totally usable right now, but it was kind of like he had a good idea, and it was kind of it just felt like a bit of a proof of concept, rough around the edges, but still it's pretty good. So I showed it to Cyprian, and he kind of fixed a couple of things just regarding some naming stuff or whatever inside the code, and it was functional. And then I was talking to Ton and to more people about, you know, when are we getting a good post library thumbnail system or whatever that is just totally incorporated into Blender. You know, like just when, you know, we've been waiting for this for a year. Like this should have been done during Elephant's Dream or something. You know, like that's how basic this is to bigger animation softwares. So the answer was, well, we're kind of working on 2.8 right now, and we're at like this awkward halfway stage where, you know, we're shifting our focus towards that. So and it made me a little bit sad because that means, oh no, we gotta improvise. And Sibrin took that improvisation on, and yeah, he did something that was like, it's Jasper's thing, and then he took it to the next level, and then he took it to another level, like by my little kind of requirement things.
Which is what we are going to see now.
Yeah, exactly, and it's fully functional. It's great. I mean, of course, you could take it further, but man. So we have Spring, and I'm just gonna link in the post libraries. So I have like different kind of post libraries. These are, by the way, just rudimentary post libraries that are not final at all. This is just me trying to test out these things.
Okay.
So there's the facials for Spring. So I'm linking that in right now. Did you pause it?
I paused it because you say I'm linking the post libraries, but actually they're actions basically.
Yeah, you're right.
So when you link, you just link a file link.
That's right.
Like you will link any action.
A post library is essentially just an action data block.
With a bunch of bones.
Yeah,
exactly. With bone keyframes and some bones.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it is. And so we link that in. And then we go to our post library. Of course, this is the updated one. And you can see, if you pause right now, so there's that little libraries for it, like that little drop-down thing. It only showed us one thing.
Oh, maybe I can.
And that is, we can go back a little bit. So when I click that, so it's only showing us one thing. And this is because we're using a naming convention. So our rig is named like capital RIG dash Spring. Okay, and this is a naming convention we have. However, if you or your company or whatever has a different naming convention, you can actually go into the settings of this add-on and you can just change what is your naming convention, essentially.
Yes. You do that in the user preferences. You just go like regular user preferences, go to the add-on, and inside of the add-on itself, there will be settings for that to set.
So preferences,
Well, we're going to explain this in the actual video.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
this was supposed to be a teaser. I keep going into it. But, it's so cool because when I make these post libraries, I call them, in capital PLB. This is post library. Dash Spring, the name of the character. That way, when this little drop-down thing, when you click it, it'll only show you the data blocks, the action data blocks that have that naming convention. So let's say you have like 2, 3, 4, 16 different characters in one file, and all of them are animated, and maybe you have some props that are animated or whatever. You don't have like this insane list of like 100 action blocks, and then you have to like start writing, trying to figure out what was the name. You'll just always get exactly what fits this character.
It filters by the PLB that you set in the user preferences, and then the name of the object of the character, and then whatever you want.
Exactly.
Pretty nice.
Pretty cool.
Yes,
and then
the tutorial. Next.
And so just as a demonstration, I'm also going to link in like really crappy hand library that I made just as a demonstration. So like all the hands actually do is just like point different fingers or whatever.
Yeah, it's just for the demonstration.
Yeah, it's just for the demonstration. But so you can see, you click the hands.
Yeah.
And then you get all the different hands.
1, 2, 3, know how to count.
Yay!
Thumby, pointy, langy, ring. Tiny.
Don't be reading that. That's that's me naming things.
I guess that's custom. It's not Blender making.
No.
Okay.
Just me being silly.
Okay.
All right.
So
let's. So this is where the selection sets also come in really handy, because with the selection sets you can choose exactly what are the bones that you want to be using the post library for. So that's why I have like facials, because that's exactly the bones that all of those post libraries were made with.
Nice.
So you can just click through. Super simple, super nice. Yeah. And then you can, let's just demonstrate that, yes, this also works with hands. So like here's the hand left, and you just do whatever, and bada bing, bada boom, you got it.
Does it change? It doesn't change the face because it's not affected by those bones.
Exactly. So it's just the bones that are selected. Yeah. Now, by default, if you have nothing selected, it'll only change the things that are supposed to be changed, like meaning the things that were keyed in the post library. And I try to clean up my post libraries so they work that way. But you can also do something like this, where I'm selecting the different bones for the eyebrows, and then I just go and it'll only change the eyebrows.
Well, it's not creepy at all.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking about what they look like.
Sorry.
And then you can check mark the apply flipped. All the thumbnails will flip the other way, because when you do these pose libraries, they are very much meant for one direction, and now it works in the other direction.
Okay, this will flip the whole library, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So now you have it flipped, and you can choose whatever, you can do whatever, and it'll apply it flipped. And, whoa, pause it.
What?
So
what?
here's an extra little feature that Sibrin did. Well, I shouldn't say little, it's amazing. And this is something that if you come from like a bigger studio like Pixar or whatever, like this is basic. This is like one of the essentials that you should always have. We've never had this. So it's a mix factor between two poses. So if you hold down Shift and then click, you know, the thumbnail selection, so hold down Shift and you click it.
Yes.
And you choose whatever. Just choose a face.
Yeah, so here it's not clicking, but shift clicking, and then
then you get this little mix factor slider. So there, if you just hit play, you can slide back and forth between how much of this do you want based on the one you already have right now. And then you just can click cancel or apply, and you got it.
So it is a mix of the one you had before and the current one.
Yeah, the one you just have already, and the one you want to put on top right now. So just another example of how we can use selection sets with this. So now I'm creating a selection set that is called eyebrows, and I'm assigning. And now whenever I select it, only the eyebrows are going to get selected. So I could just theoretically just click whatever pose, and it'll only do that because it's selected. And then I could also shift click, and I would have the mix factor, and
nice. Confused frowning.
These poses are not great. But
awesome. It's great.
Very cool.
What is the old poses? Maybe I'm going too fast or not?
I think all poses is like if there's like hidden stuff or something, and then the all poses will like include it. Yeah. But I don't really use it. And and that's the flipped version, not flipped version. All right, and that's it. Yeah.
Wow,
cool.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Why don't we have this in Blender already?
Because we just finished making it. Actually, there's like a tiny little glitch in it right now that Sibrin is gonna fix sometime this week, I think.
Yes.
It's like it's a basic thing that
it's a bug that for next week is better if it's
exactly. That's why we wanna make like the better kind of tutorial about this next week, just so we make sure that like we've fact checked there are no extra bugs. Why don't we have it right now? Because we just finished making it. That's one
brand
reason.
new. Yes,
exactly. And once we have it, we're gonna share it and all that stuff, and make a little teaching video. Maybe Sibrin should do it. I think he would be more. I can make like the files for him to demonstrate, but maybe he should be the one,
explaining it.
Yeah. Like he knows more about like the back end and everything. So.
But it should be for animators, right? It's not for developers.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe we will just teamwork this thing.
Yeah, maybe you can sit here.
And do like a tag team or something. Yeah. Okay, now like a speaking stick, and then now I'm the one talking. Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
So there are a few questions that if you want to hang out here.
Yeah. Let's do it.
How you're feeling?
I feel good. Should we like in the meantime should we plug something on the cloud?
What, like for example, what?
I don't know.
Well, plug. Do you plug?
Here you go, sir. Here you go.
What is this?
So this is a plug. Well, it's a sword, of course. This is a pickaxe. This is a diamond pickaxe. I actually played this game. I tried it.
You play then?
Because my nephew was really into it. I think he's still really into it. And after hearing about it for years and years and years, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. I tried it. I got hooked for like 3-4 months. You remember? It's all I did. Like I went home, Minecrafting constantly.
Yeah, but I saw what you did. It's like a huge... you made a server for the Blender Institute. Did anybody else from the Blender Institute join?
Sibrin joined like once, I think. And then we had Bo, our intern, and I think he joined a couple of times, but that's it.
Awesome.
Nobody wanted to play with me.
We will soon. Anyway, it was a plug for the latest animation Minecraft animation workshop that it's on the cloud since for like a week only. So check it out if you haven't already. It's also friendly for beginners. So
made by
Dylan Gu. Own and only and awesome Dylan Gu. So now time for questions.
Oh, okay.
So can you speak about the motion trail, please?
Motion trail. Motion paths.
Motion paths in Blender, yes.
I'm guessing.
You have 1 minute.
1 minute, okay.
Because I know your feelings.
It's one of those things where I keep asking the developers here, can you please, optimize it and all that? Because it's like this amazing tool, and it would help you out so much when it comes to spacing when you're animating. And I still use it every now and then, not too much, but I do use it. The problem is that if you have a heavy scene, meaning you have like a character with like a rig with a lot of bones, and maybe you have a couple of characters, this thing, it's just the frame rate drops to nothing.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to, it's kind of cumbersome to use. So sometimes I just, instead of using it, I actually just use my grease pencil and I kind of pencil every frame to try to figure out the spacing. I don't want to dog it too much because really it's a great tool and you can use it fully functional. Yeah, it needs some love. Yeah. And one of the problems, of course, is we just don't have enough developers, let alone somebody that is super inspired by this thing and wanting to like update it to the next level. If there would be anyone, it would probably be Sergey, but Sergey is swamped with other stuff. With always.
The dependency graph, which is related to that. So
yeah, it is heavily related. I would not just give this to a developer that didn't have a great foundation, like not understanding of the dependency graph.
Yes. So next.
Oh yeah, next question.
Can I work with character sets with the new post library add-on? Where can I see it? Character sets.
Characters.
Yes, you can. This is the
selection sets, or no?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm confused.
But basically, yes, you only works with shape keys or also bones.
Can I work with character sets with the new? Oh yeah, yes. Sorry, you were saying character sets. I think you mean selection sets. I guess.
Yes. But selection sets, yes. Like we were demoing.
Yeah, I was using it in the demo, for example.
Yeah. So.
What was the other question?
Oh wait, I broke everything here. Only works with shape keys or also bones? It works only with bones, but the bones should be driving the shape keys.
Exactly.
Because it's basically keyframes in bones that are saved somewhere.
Yep.
So yes. Next. We are replying to the questions that are at Blender Cloud. They're orange, so they're easy to see.
Ah, yeah.
I think that you're talking about will be integrated in Blender. This is something to do. What? To-do list.
For 2.8.
Okay. Yeah, but maybe something from Antonio. Yeah, so maybe something regarding the grease pencil thing that we talked at the beginning.
All right.
New tool for shape keys for mixing in the new post library.
Is there a question there?
It is a question or a feature request. We don't take feature requests because we could try, but it will be really bad.
Yeah.
So yes, no, maybe not. Let's see. Next. Has the new post library folders to the parts of the characters? No, folders, like a group, because now you have hands, hair.
Yeah.
Like, no.
So
like categories.
Every single post library. I mean, it's a little confusing, I guess, because we're using the same word. Like you have the post library thing, which is the add-on itself, but then there's post libraries, which is the action sets that you make. So essentially, you should treat those as their own folder, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would split it up. So maybe I would have one for the like body poses, and then I might have one only for hands, like different hand shapes or poses or whatever, and then facials, maybe expressions, and then maybe another one just for phonetics or whatever. If I'm doing
lip syncing.
Yeah, lip syncing. Like don't. That's a whole nother topic. Like, don't just do like A, B, C, D, or whatever, and then just like
blend
it there and then call it done. It's just a starting off point, and then of course you have to do all the hard work and all that.
It will save you time.
Yeah.
but it can make it look very robotic if you just switch between.
Yeah, exactly. You should be using these things as a helpful tool on the sideline, not something that you think replaces the work that you need to do.
Yes. Makes sense. Is a mix factor in which poses? The last key and the new key? Yes. The mix factor between the two poses.
Yeah, so whatever pose is on right now, like, you could just click a pose and apply the pose, and the pose is applied. Okay. And then next time when you click the thumbnail thing, if you hold down shift when you click it, everything will look as normal, but then you will choose some other pose. Click that, and now you have a little mix factor slider between. And it'll slide between 0%, which is the thing you already have, and 100%, which is the thing you just clicked now, the new one. Does that make sense?
It completely makes sense okay. With the video that we showed before.
All right, cool.
And, motion paths should be editable.
Should be what, sorry?
Editable?
So no, they should not.
Okay.
If
you're doing motion graphics, like
if you're doing maybe motion graphics, but like if you think, from my experience, if you call yourself an animator,
character
animator, and then not motion graphics, that's a different thing, and you want to have an editable motion path thing, you don't understand how it works. Because I'll give an example.
You're shooting some
okay.
Shots fired.
So just as an example, so let's say I'm motion pathing the neck here or the head, or maybe like the nose. So I might have a little animation where I'm moving from A to B. Okay, so I'm motion pathing that. So let's say that motion path is editable. Okay, when I move it and I tweak something, what is being moved? Is it the head and the neck, or is it the body, or is it the foot and the body and the neck? Like, it doesn't know. So it, like, if you have anything else than just one object that's following this curve, then immediately, like, the computer is dumb. Like, it doesn't know what you want, and you should not be assuming that, he wants to change the leg. When in reality, you are the artist. You are the one that says, no, I want that, and that.
And someone might.
And I'm just saying, there is no easy way of making, first of all, the computer like intuitively know what you want. I mean, it's not going to happen, never going to happen.
AI. No.
like reading your brain waves.
And also, if you're thinking IKs, no, like automatic IK that if you move, it will move the rest. No, it's just it will lose the magic.
But it's the same thing
with an animator.
It's the same thing with IK. If you have an IK chain that is more than like 2 bones, all of a sudden the computer has to be like, I think he wants this, when like 90% of the time it's wrong. So it's not a solution, people. I've heard this so many times.
Animators are supposed to suffer.
Yeah, exactly. So, you gotta suffer for your art.
Yes. Another question, can this add-on be used for Melissa, such as the weapons in RWBI? Do you know that?
Sorry, wait, I'm blank.
This question, the add-on Melissa, such as a weapon in RW, I don't know. Is that a game?
Sorry, I have no idea what Melissa is.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a friend called Melissa, but she's probably not related to this.
I'm going to call her up now.
So if you can clarify that later on, will be awesome. I see Gone. Is the new voice library compatible with Bendy Bones?
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah, Bendy Bones are just bones, right? They have keyframes, they have...
But they have, I guess you're animating properties with them or something. But then, I don't have a huge amount of experience with Bendy Bones, to be honest. I know that, like, you make a bone, and then it can be, changed, it's just one single bone, but there's like a lot of these extra things, and then you change those things with the property panel of that bone. You can do like different things, twist and bend and all that stuff. But if I did a character, like, wouldn't I just have to hook those things up to another bone, and then that is the bone that's driving it?
Yeah.
I would be guessing that a proper rigger would do something like that. Would never like make the animator go into like a property slider. So if that were the case, then yeah, totally. if not, and if it's like a property panel thing, I'm not sure. Like, I guess because then it would be stored in the same action data block for the entire thing. So yeah, I guess.
So maybe that's something to try in the video.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Carlis, he doesn't agree with motion paths.
Yeah, of course, I know.
I know Hjalti, but motion path activity will still be helpful. For example, it's easier to make arcs. I'm reading the questions.
Great to make arcs. Yeah. Okay, now we have the same problem. Okay, track my nose, and you can see the arc, and it's like, great, I see the arc, and like he's doing this, and there's this arc in the nose. What if that arc were like slightly more like this? Okay, now you change the curve. The computer, like the rig, essentially, like it doesn't know what should be changing in order for that, that curve to be changed. Should it be only like changing the neck area, the head area, what am I saying? The like this joint here, this joint here, like the chest. Should it be adapting the chest in order to like change that arc? Should it be changing the hips? Should it go all the way down to like the feet? There's way too many variables, and you as the artist should be able to change those things yourself. Like you have to do it manually. There is no, I'm just repeating myself.
Sorry. Basically it's the same as before. We're going to wrap up in a bit. So
for motion graphics, by the way, it's fine.
Yeah, for motion graphics, it's perfect. Fine. Because usually it's just like one icon moving or one thing, and text or whatever.
Of course.
It's like object animation that, of course. But if you have a chain of objects, maybe not. Mm-hmm. Anyway, everybody has their own workflows anyway, and tastes. Maybe you like that. Maybe another.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, maybe you're animating a character and you just want that nose to be great. And you don't care that the body's like doing this while like the nose is doing a great arc. Then okay, good, that's fine.
Maya has zero weight key function in layers. Can I find this tool in Blender? What is layers in Maya? I don't know. It's a Maya thing.
Yeah, I've used Maya though, but it's been a few years.
There is a zero weight key function in layers. But what layers?
Yeah, the layers thing I don't understand. I remember like in 3ds Max, like a right click on a properties panel would zero things out automatically, I think.
What's a good first animation to work for a beginner? First animation. If someone is starting, what do you start with?
Bouncing ball.
Bouncing ball.
Like I know it's
cliche.
It's annoying, I know. Here's the thing about the bouncing ball, and I see a lot of show reels from like student animators and whatnot, and I would rather see a really successful bouncing ball than the student trying to animate a character with hands and feet and all that stuff and it looking bad because they don't understand the fundamentals of animation, like the foundation. And it's a simple truth that like if you can't successfully do a bouncing ball, then you have no business animating a character with feet and hands and all that stuff. It's just the level of complexity is way higher. And
what if it's a robot?
No, even then, yeah, shouldn't matter.
What if it's a car? Still, because you need to apply weight, you need to apply.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. No, with the car,
maybe
it's like moi, but maybe, but no, like do the bouncing ball first. Yeah. Like go from a bouncing ball to a kind of a one of those like balls with a tail, because then you can like learn about I'm blanking on it, drag and follow through, and then you go to like the ball with the two legs, because then you don't have any of the other like upper body stuff, and you could just like try to make a little walk cycle with that ball, and because it has the two legs, and then you can move on to kind of a character that's super simplified but doesn't have arms, and then you have to like make little parkour jumps or something.
Yeah.
You have to work your way up to this extra level of details.
For complexity.
Exactly.
Yes. How many poses can I save in the pose library? Infinite.
Infinite.
As long as they fit in your hard drive. Because, of course, keyframes add a bit of weight to your blend files. But, it's infinite, basically. Yeah. And let's see. Oh, the Maya layers are like Photoshop layers, are additive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you zero them out? I don't understand.
Like if you add basically it would be to add a pose library, like set it with shift and set the mix to 0. Basically that's 0. Basically. Or you just are like clear the pose with Alt G and R and...
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. What do you think about face map? Do you prefer to work with widgets or face map? You know the face map feature, the one that is being demoed? It's the Pixar approach to select, instead of selecting bones, you select face stuff.
Yeah, there's I've seen the Presto user interface and like how they work with that stuff, and it's, I wouldn't say that's they only use that. I mean, they have like all these extra sliders to the side, and they're constantly using that, and they're using the numbers. So I feel like there's a bit of a PR stunt going on when we talk about these things. You have to remember, like this, whatever the case, it's an extra complexity level for the rigger. So it's not like, just because we have this option of making these things that it's going to be as easy for the rigger to make it. Like that's like extra work for the rigger to make this user interface thing. But that being besides the point, I'm very interested in it. I would like to see I don't like the idea of things being so hidden that you don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe there would have to be like you hold down a button and then you can see like all the selectable parts, or like you hover over and they get kind of highlighted or whatever. And the problem also is you have a hard time seeing when things are zeroed out because they're so integrated or hidden. I think there's this level of sexiness in the PR a lot of the times for people that don't know like the stuff behind it.
Yeah, maybe for rough stuff like blocking or moving like the legs, or like you need to select here. You click here and you select the whole arm, for example. Maybe those things. But if you want to find detail, I also saw some screenshots of Presto or other tools where they have that, but they select a piece of the face, for example, and then they have this list of sliders.
Oh, yeah.
So what's like you hiding it from here, but then you end up with that.
And I'm personally not a huge fan. I'm not a fan at all of this tendency sometimes with rigs. And I had this in Animation Mentor. I think it's the Bishop rig. Bishop, right? Yeah.
Bishop, yeah.
So for sliders, sometimes sliders you're like, okay, I can use them, it's fine. It gets kind of annoying because it's always this spreadsheet next to you.
Yeah.
And it takes you out of the moment because you're like, you want that thing, but you always have to look from here to there constantly. And it's not like the thing you're looking at there also has the rig. It's, it's just spreadsheet. So Bishop had this thing that I thought was so annoying. If you wanted to curl the fingers, there was a freaking, like, there was no way of like, maybe they've updated today, but this is years ago. You couldn't just pick that bone and rotate it and like visually see where it goes and it's fine. You always had to go into like that panel of sliders and be like, okay, ring finger number 2 curl.
That's horrible.
And you're just like, oh.
Yeah, it's like filling a form.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like doing taxes. It's like, okay.
Took forever. So usually my approach is that I have 2 windows. One is the camera, and it has the only render setting. So essentially, like it's getting rid of like no widgets, no nothing. It's just exactly what the camera sees. And then my other window is the 3D window with all the widgets that I want. Yeah. That's how selection set helps out a lot because it cleans out everything you don't want or don't need in that moment. So I use it kind of like a puppet. So I'm kind of treating it as a 3-dimensional puppet, but I'm always fact checking what does it look like from the camera's angle.
Yeah.
So it's a slightly different approach, but I've tried all the different damn approaches, and it's the one that I've felt like it's the most natural, I guess.
Until you do VR, and then all the camera is all around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Caminando's VR.
Here's the problem with
Which
VR.
You happened. Nice flag. Yes.
So, that thing is kind of.
Sorry. You need to call production.
Here's going to be the problem with VR. Have you ever had to like put your hands up like this and just maintain it up for more than 3 minutes, 5 minutes?
I'm tired already.
Yeah, your hand just goes. I mean, you're constantly working against the gravity, and you get really tired really quickly. So there's a reason why we work with our hands on the table, because you're not going to last long for doing this. So when people are like, "Oh, VR," and you're thinking about Minority Report or whatever, like that movie, everybody's whoosh, opening a folder, whoosh, whoosh, you know, it's like, okay, but you can't do that for 8 hours a day.
No.
You can't do it for 15 minutes a day. I mean, you're going to be like...
Okay, last two questions. One is, would be a dream drawing academy in Blender Institute? Yeah, that would be amazing if we could have it would be that much. Well, actually, with grease pencil, you could have a drawing. Right. Actually, that's a good idea. Thank you for the the feedback. I see gone. And the last question is, can I use onion skin with a new post library, especially with external add-on in Blender Market? Okay, the Blender Market is a separate thing. Because we don't use Blender Market stuff.
Yeah, I don't use anything from Blender Market. I have no idea. So I have no idea what specifically you're talking about.
Blender Market is not related to the Blender Institute. He has the name only.
Yeah, exactly. The onion skin, I mean, I don't even know what you mean, because it's totally separate.
But you can use onion skinning with the post library?
What does that mean? I mean, onion skin, it shows you the thing, but then...
shows you the previous...
Yeah, but what does that have to do with assigning a new pose?
Well, because you assign and then you see you see like onion skinning between the previous pose and the new one. But I don't think so, because onion skinning only works on actual keyframes.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly. No,
so yeah, it won't work.
It won't work, but also it makes no sense. I'm sorry. That makes no sense.
Okay, something like onion. Hey, we keep asking questions. Hey, not fair.
That's fine. That's fine.
Something like onion skinning for future versions of Blender, for mesh, no bones. For meshes.
No, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that could be a filter in Eevee.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, just dropping it there if there is any Eevee developer.
just remember, onion skin gets very heavy in 3D software real quick. Like if you have a rig that it has any kind of a good amount of detail and it gets really heavy. I mean, it sounds amazing, of course, but you have to also work within your, I don't know what you call it, like work on a practical level. You know, if your frame rate is dropping to 2 frames per second, you shouldn't be using it. You know?
Onion skinning. It's faster to just go back and forth, I think, and then having that. And can I store the drawing of the grease pencil inside a new post of the post library? That's for you to try, because grease pencil is...
Yeah, but no.
Well, they have actions, but they're grease pencil actions. So that is for Antonio Vasquez or Daniel Martinez Lara or Matias
blown. It's true.
Or Joshua Long.
It's true. It is saved as an action.
That's something to try. Whoa. So I think with this we can wrap up. We're reaching 1 hour. And,
wait, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but when we started this, it was daylight. Now it's dark.
Oops.
And cold, and we have to continue working.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right? And use Blender 2.79a, which just came out, and prepared for next week, because all that we talked today regarding the tools, selection sets, post library is going to be explained in a master class.
Whoa. Okay.
By
Whoa.
Yes, by Hjalti Hjalmarsson.
Damn. Okay.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Go downstairs.
You go downstairs. The table is like this big. I don't know how this tall. Anyway. What? Yes. So yes, stay tuned for more. Thank you for joining this episode of Blender Cloud Live. Tomorrow there will be a new podcast, so also there will be more stuff coming out if you want to know. Yes. I shouldn't look down. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for joining. If you like this, subscribe, because we do it every week. And leave your comment if you want to see something special next week. And that is all. Bye. Thank you once again, and